Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to the 5,460th meeting of the Rotary Club of San Jose. I want to thank our greeting line today, Service to Seniors. Service to Seniors, where are you? Fantastic. Thank you, Kelly. Kelly Dipple is our chair, and she's got some exciting stuff coming up with them. I also want to thank our Fun and Friendship Committee for tabling today to promote the holiday activities that are happening in the evening. You'll hear from Cindy Faulkner in a bit about the daytime activities, but thank you for that fantastic whiskey and whiskey and persimmon pairing. That is surprisingly, that worked. That totally worked. Thanks, Doug. Today on our traveling microphones, we have Emilia Capsuto and Artie Arian. Are you guys here on your microphones? You are. Fantastic. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, Madam President. I'm Emilia Capsuto with Home First, and my sponsor is Mary Curtis.
Lucky girl. Wonderful. Hi, Artie. You've dried out over the weekend.
Yes, I did. So Artie Arian, CEO of Renewable America, and my sponsor is Mike Borer.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm not saying he's sober, I'm saying he's actually dry. We were drenched in that Veterans Day parade. All right, with Rotarians who are visiting and Rotarians with guests, please stand so we can recognize your guests. All right, looks like we've got Mike Borer to start with. Hi, Mike.
Hello, President Heather. I am here with my son, William. Who is a fantastic musician, and some of you may have seen him play at the last Rotary Barbecue, and also at the Lee Weimer's Emerging Artist as part of Bennett Roth Newell's jazz trio. And you can catch him tonight and every Wednesday night at the Fountainhead from 6:30 to 9.
You're
so
veering
come
into
out.
fine territory.
I know, I'm
right
on the line. Okay, thank you.
$100. Welcome, William. So glad you're part of the family here.
Hello, Madam President.
Hello, Megan.
I'm Megan Fluke. My sponsor is Rod Dierdon. Hello. My guest today is Shannon Clark, a new friend and founder of Haven Safe, a nonprofit committed to supporting folks on the brink of homelessness in Santa Clara County. She's an incredibly inspiring nonprofit professional, and I hope you say hi.
Thank you. Let's keep them off the brink and out of that situation entirely. Okay, Suzanne Wolf.
Hello, President Heather and my sponsor. This is Suzanne, and I brought with me Margaret Tamasia today, an amazing leader in our community, a consultant, and we're so glad she's joined us today to hopefully join us in the future.
We are so glad you're here, Margaret. Thank you.
President Heather, Mike Conniff from.
Where are you, Mike? Wave at
right
me.
over,
Oh,
over
hi,
here.
Mike.
I'm very happy to introduce two wonderful people. My wife Ann, who often comes here, and I don't even introduce her anymore, and then Francisco de la Calle, who teaches beginning Spanish at San Jose State, and advanced also. But Francisco, after this meeting, is going to go to our San Jose State committee meeting, and he's going to show a 15-minute video that he made about San Jose State. It's a wonderful, uplifting little video, so he's going to go over there, and those of you who are in the San Jose State committee, be sure to come over to the library, room 732. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike. Maybe we can pop a link to that in our bulletin this week. That could be happening. Hi, Rod Dierdon.
Your Royal Highness.
Hello.
How are you? I am here with a mutual friend, Steve Garlwaya, who you will hear more about later on. Steve publishes the beautiful Los Gatos and Saratoga magazines.
Welcome, Stephen. Great to see you. Oh, this is Stephen. Welcome. We've been texting all morning. Hi, Janica.
Hi, President Heather. Janica Clem. I am proud to introduce my guest for today, Julie Anderson, who is the new executive director with Recovery Cafe. If you're not familiar with Recovery Cafe, they are a neighbor down below who are working with a lot of our community members, many of them dealing with addiction. So it is wonderful to have Julie here.
Welcome, Julie. Glad you're here. Someone has a microphone. Oh, hi, Catherine. No, the microphones feed directly into our Zoom feed. That's why I insist on microphones. But if someone has a microphone, go for
Hi,
it.
President Heather. I'm Catherine Vandiver. My sponsor is Jen Simmons. I'm delighted to have my brother, Mike Cermelli, joining us today for the third time. He has a pending application to join our club, so I'm thrilled to have a sibling in the club with me eventually.
Welcome.
Mike is from the finance sector in tech, and even though I was in tech and he was in finance, we have a huge history that we share together, both in that sector, so it's been really fun.
So your Thanksgiving dinners are still good. Glad to hear it. Welcome. Hello.
Hi there, my name is Erin Delacroix, and I'm really excited to have my two guests here, Ari and Lawrence. They are with New York Life, and they do work very collaborative together. Ari is in Los Gatos, and Lawrence came all the way from Oakland, so super excited to have them here. And one thing that I think is special about them is that they focus on businesses, especially within the medical field, to make sure that doctors are taking care of themselves as they take care of patients.
Wonderful. Glad to see you in the room here today. Cool. Okay, I think that might be it for our guest introductions. Any visiting Rotarians? All righty. At this time, I'd like to welcome Bert George. He's going to be leading our eulogy for Gary Silver. We can clap. We can clap for Bert. That's good.
Clap at the beginning. All right. Is there a picture of Dr. Gary? There should be, right? Okay, there's Dr. Gary. Okay. So, our good friend, our good Dr. Gary Silver. I don't know if you realize the loss that this club and this community and this world has experienced by losing Dr. Gary Silver. I'm going to go over a few things just about really Rotary, and you'll get the gist of it. Many of you in this room obviously know him, knew him, and a lot of you don't know who Gary Silver was. But this San Jose Rotary Club, wherever our banner is a lot smaller today because we've lost Gary. But what he built over the years with that beautiful rotary wheel, no one's ever going to forget, and I'm going to make sure no one ever forgets it. So Dr. Gary Silver, born 1941, passed away October 22nd. At age 5, Dr. Gary Silver was, this is the lore, was in his living room with his mom. His mom is knitting or sewing. At age 5, Dr. Gary Silver says, I want to be a heart surgeon someday. At age 5, watching his mom sewing. Dartmouth, Northwestern, postgraduate at the Cleveland Clinic. Started at O'Connor Hospital in 1974, married to his wonderful wife, Mel, for 54 years. Joined this Rotary Club in 1980. He was our president from 1993 to 1994. Back when Dave Haggerty, who was another pillar of this club, was the our district governor. Sorry, no disrespect to district governors, but Dave was our district governor. He's in New York for some Rotary event, and he learns about the Gift of Life program and brings it back to our club, and Gary Silver says, you know what, we could do an adult Gift of Life program. What this program did for 46 people around the world is Dr. Gary brought in O'Connor Hospital to give their services for free. The Fairmont Hotel to house for 2-3 weeks, whatever it needed to be for the patient for free. The heart valve company to give the heart valves for free. All of his staff would donate their time for nothing. And of course, Gary would give his time. They would send letters, no emails back then, they would send letters out to other Rotary clubs around the world. And I don't know how many different countries, I think it was 19, 20 different countries to get these 46 different patients. They'd send letters out saying, who needs help? And some of his, it's amazing, some of the, they'd need to know the background of the person. What's wrong with the person? We don't know. Well, a lot of it was just handwritten notes. There's no medical records, because there's no medical records. There's nothing going on in these poor little towns. These people had no way in the world, hope beyond hope, pray to whatever God you want. You're not going to get this service. And here comes this letter, and here comes the letters back to this town. And the Rotary clubs and our Rotary Club would pay for their plane trip to get them here. And we would, every week, for 46 different times, and I think it was more than that, because we'd see the patient when they came in, and we'd see the patient when they would leave, stand before us, all of us, could barely walk, could barely talk, and we'd hear their story through an interpreter usually, or their wife, husband, and then 2 weeks later we'd see them again stand at this podium talking about what Dr. Gary Silver and this Adult Gift of Life program has done for them. I mean, they are up and going. We gave them life. Gary Silver gave them life, and this is what we have lost. So, moment of silence, I believe, but this man was one of the greatest Rotarians this club has ever seen and will ever see. We cannot replace this man.
Thank you, Jeff. You saw me do this awkward transition before, and I'm going to do it again. We're going to transition right into a new member. Odessa and Rod, come on up. I wish we had walk-on music for you guys. I'm going to work on that.
It's a real pleasure to be able to introduce this remarkable young lady. She is Assyrian and was prejudiced against in Iran. She immigrated to the United States when she was 13 years old with no English background. She assimilated quickly, went to school at San Jose State, go Spartans, and got her bachelor's and master's degree, and has never stopped working hard for the community. During college, she fought for human rights and was involved in several different activities or on the progressive side, and has continued to do that. She served on the Planning Commission for 8 years for the city of San Jose, chaired the commission, processed billions of dollars worth of construction, and did so with thought and with an attempt to make the city better. She's served on numerous organizations and committees, Junior League, Board of Dawn, Crime Stoppers, Silicon Valley, Almaden Valley Women's Club, Almaden Valley Rotary Club, we got her now, YWCA, and many others. She's a charmer. Let me tell you, she's profound, but she doesn't let that profundity interrupt your ability to communicate with her. And that's remarkable for a person with her background to be a listener as well as a doer. Would you welcome, please, the newest Rotarian, Odessa Betbedel.
Thank you, Rod. It's an honor to be sponsored by you. It really is. And it's absolute honor to be here under Heather's leadership. It really is. I just want to say I'm truly looking forward to meeting each and every one of you. And I'm excited about this Saturday's Red Badge project. So I'm looking forward to serving the community in this capacity. Thank you again.
Let's grab a quick photo. What a fantastic addition. All right, fun and friendship. I think we might be out of order here. Hold on. You guys will figure it out. I'm gonna do. I got slides out of order. Here you go. Let's do you first.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
How many of you know about this little college down the road from us? That's it? That was terrible.
It was terrible.
How about the San Jose State University Spartans? I hear they're doing all right in football. Have you?
They are doing pretty darn all right. In fact, they are bowl eligible, depending how the next few games go.
And we would like to invite you to one of those games. The day after Thanksgiving, which is Friday, November 29th, there's going to be a tailgate hosted by the Alumni Association at San Jose State. It is $25 for Rotarians and their friends, $15 for children. It runs from 11 to 1 p.m., includes a ticket to the game. There's a soft taco bar, all sorts of yummy, delicious Mexican delicacies, side dishes, as well as a salad. It includes 2 drinks, either beer, wine, or a soda. And then your ticket to the game is general admission, so you can kind of buy as you go along. We would love to have you invite your family, friends, and whoever else to join us. So yeah, that's what I got.
It is going to be a kick. If you haven't been to a game in a while, this is the perfect one to go to. It is San Jose State versus Stanford, for those of you who may be Stanford fans. I actually come from a household where I married into a Stanford family, but I will definitely be rooting for San Jose State. It is really, really fun. The band usually comes by. Sammy Spartan comes by. It is great. If you haven't been to a San Jose State game, again, the stadium is really lively these days. They are at home 4-0 this season. And again, they are bowl eligible. We are playing, for those who pay attention to college football, Boise State this weekend, which they are ranked 13th in the nation. So this will be a tough game, but Stanford should be a really, really fun game. I do hope to see you and your family out there. Wear your blue and gold and go Spartans.
Go Spartans. And we love you anyway, Janica, even with that little Stanford smirch on you. Oh my goodness, there is walk-on music.
He's doing that? I didn't realize I was getting piano, so I brought my own music. Hello, everybody. We are having an annual holiday lunch, and this year it's Snowfest celebration. So have some fun with some snowballs. Don't get hit in the head with that. It's a perfect way to close out our Rotary year with winter magic. You know, think cozy gatherings, sparkling champagne, and the warmth of Rotary fellowship. Early bird tickets, as you know, we've hit up everybody in this room, are $85, but Friday's the last day for that. They go up. If you're on Zoom, please get your ticket. We are almost, or at, half sold out, and it is limited. We can't take everyone, so please get your tickets today. We'd love to see you register this week. We're making it very special with some special champagne cocktails and, of course, amazing entertainment. Also, because Snowfest is more about just a celebration, we're also giving back to the community. So also those Spartans, we're working with San Jose State Cares Pantry. So for this holiday lunch, if you can please bring the warmth of the season by collecting cereal, granola bars, and nuts. Bring your donations and help spread some holiday cheer. And, you know, get your tickets. Did I say that yet? Grab your winter spirit and join us for a sparkling celebration, and can't wait to see you.
Always the party of the year. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to go to a brief little president's time here, and we're going to focus primarily on fun finds. Sarju, are you in the room today? If Sarju is not in the room today, You were spotted without a pin on a rooftop bar in Mexico. Yeah, that's going to cost you. So when you come back next week, we're doubling it, all right? Steve, oh. We'll get you, Sarju, we'll get you. But we do have Rod and Gloria in the room today. Now, what the heck is going on here? You got the cover, not just some little like shout out or a byline thing. You got the actual cover of Los Gatos Living, and nary a pin can be seen. Can we get a microphone to Rod and Gloria to defend themselves? Yeah, exactly. That's a pretty big groan. Yeah. Amelia's making her way up. Like I said, we do require microphones because that goes into the feed for our friends on Zoom. Now, my goodness, what could you possibly have to say about this abomination?
It was Gloria's fault.
I think you get an extra fine for throwing your spouse under the bus. What do you think? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I withdraw that then. It was Steve's fault.
Steve Ellenberg?
No, Steve Garwaya.
Oh, because I could find Steve too, just for fun, because he's there.
Okay. I think you should find Steve Ellenberg too, just for kicks.
Okay. So, Gloria, do you have anything to say for yourself? Nothing. What's this going to cost you, Rod?
It's going to cost me later when when she gets me alone. About $250.
I love it. Thank you so much. That was kind of a half ring.
Could I say an extra thing? I'm paying for it.
You are.
Steve did a wonderful job on that magazine, and he's doing a great service to the community by starting these magazines in Los Gatos and Saratoga, and I hope all around the valley. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you so much, our comrades in print media. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right, next fun find. What the heck? Jeff Poley, this was clearly pandering to our guest speaker a few weeks ago. Exactly. And you just really wanted their attention, showing that you were the biggest Sharks fan of like all time with your first season ticket, all those things. And I really wanted to fine you for that. But instead, you know what the Sharks gave me? A collectible puck just for you. So, we have learned nothing here, but this is going to cost you. What am I going to fine you here, buddy? I could look this up on eBay. It's worth a lot. I truly am. All righty. Thank you, Sparky Sparacco and Chris Shea, for this beautiful gift, for your obvious pandering and love of the Sharks. Thank you. You're welcome. All right, next up, our featured program, and it's Bunny today. Bunny's going to be introducing our speaker of the day. Welcome home, Bunny.
Recently named to the Silicon Valley Power 100 list, Ahmad Thomas is both a fellow Rotarian and the CEO of Silicon Valley Leadership Group. SVLG fosters innovation and competitiveness in the Bay Area to ensure that both the Valley and the USA remain a leader in global technology. Ahmed and his team are working to make sure that AI has the safeguards it needs but also has a breathing room necessary to have true innovation in the Valley. So please welcome Ahmad Thomas, who's going to talk today about responsible innovation.
Well, thank you very much, Bunny. Thank you, President Heather. I am truly honored as a fellow Rotarian, a member of this club, to be here today. It means a lot. But before I even say another word, I want to ask for a round of applause for Rod Deardan, and I'll tell you why after. So, Rod. I am part of the Rod squad, proudly. I wouldn't be up here if not for Rod, and Rod and Gloria have been so kind to me. He's been wonderful, a sage voice, a mentor, and Rod, I appreciate you bringing me into this wonderful club. And the work that you all do is, in our community, so vital and so important. Again, I'm touched and honored that I've been allowed to come back here. Now, the whiskey tasting at the same day as me, I don't know if it's a coincidence or what. I think it's probably a good thing, but I appreciate it all nonetheless. Now, originally, I had planned to get up here and talk about our Institute for California AI policy, which is an initiative that we rolled out a few months ago at the Silicon Valley Leadership Group that is focused on driving the conditions for AI to grow in California and for our most innovative companies to drive AI technologies and employment. But given recent events, given our election, given the calls and emails and inquiries coming into us, if it's okay, I've modified my remarks a little bit to just talk about two things. But AI will be weaved in to all of this. And I'll talk your ear off on our institute at any time if you're interested. But I'd like to talk about, for Silicon Valley Leadership Group, what this election means to us and how we are beginning to view how California will be postured and this region will be postured, which is critical for SVLG as we allocate resources for our member companies in the years ahead. And then secondly, I'd like to just share some of my reflections, some thoughts about the future for our region as I see it. And I thought if it made sense, I would take 2 minutes right at the top. You all know Silicon Valley Leadership Group very well. Hopefully you're signed up for our turkey trot. I see Janica, one of our foundation members here. Carl Guardino, who has also been just a wonderful friend to me, is a longtime member with Leslie. So I feel that you all know Silicon Valley Leadership Group very well. But I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't at least take 2 minutes to summarize my last 20 years here at the top, to reintroduce myself to you all as a member, as a friend, as someone, you know, every time I'm here, it hits me, I gotta adjust bandwidth a little bit so I'm here more often. But I want you all to know about me, and it will help inform the direction that Silicon Valley Leadership Group has been moving over the past 4.5 years since I have been CEO. So briefly, I'm a Californian, born and raised, military family, so I grew up on the Central Coast outside of Vandenberg Air Force Base. My dad's a Vietnam vet, 23 years in the service in the Air Force, and he was last stationed at Vandenberg. If we have any folks from the Caribbean or folks who know the West Indies, my mom is an immigrant from Trinidad and Tobago, and my dad is from rural Alabama, where we have had family since the Civil War, and I had relatives who fought in the Civil War. I would hope as I share a little bit about our work at SVLG and what drives that work, my personal story. In particular, my dad, as you heard, he grew up in the segregated South. It was not a great time in particular in the 1950s in Alabama, but I hope that those experiences have helped to shape my value system. In terms of professionally, what I've done over the course of my career has been focused on economics, public policy, and business. My mentor was U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein. I was a senior member of her team in Washington, D.C., where I started my career, and I did economic policy work for her on Capitol Hill. I went to grad school for public policy. I was overseas at London School of Economics. And my professional career was investment banking. So over a decade, I was fortunate to lead a little over $15 billion worth of deals. I went to business school, and that's where I thought most of my career would be spent. I've been very fortunate to be in this role because I think I bring a unique set of lived experiences, but also have helped us as we modernize, think about how we add the most value for our businesses and how we add the most value, I hope, for our region. So I understand very well the concept of value creation for companies, the concepts of innovation and how innovation is driven by infrastructure in a dynamic workforce such as what we have here in Silicon Valley. So that's just a little bit about me to reorient and get reconnected with my fellow Rotarians. And I'll jump into what I want to share principally with you. So first, a few thoughts about what this election and what the country speaking means for Silicon Valley Leadership Group. And then second, some thoughts about the future of our region and where we're going. I would say that in Silicon Valley, for our innovators, for the leading companies whom we're so fortunate to represent, change is a constant, right? Silicon Valley Leadership Group, we're a 5-decade-old organization. So we have been through changes in leadership at all levels of government. And so I think it's important to just level set at the top that I think we're very well prepared to continue driving our mission and our North Star, which is to ensure that the U.S. remains the most globally competitive nation on the planet, and to ensure that our tech and innovation companies, our job creators, our large employers here that drive innovation, to ensure that the conditions on the ground here in Silicon Valley enable that innovation and do so in a manner that also benefits our community and our society. So I don't think that North Star is changed in any way. And for some of you, we've chatted about this a little bit. I feel that California's focus, and when I say that, I mean our policymakers in Sacramento, our innovators and job creators here in Silicon Valley. I believe the focus on California and our leadership has only intensified given what we've seen over the past few days in terms of elections locally, elections at the state level, and elections in DC. And very specifically, what do I mean by that? If we talk about AI, right, which is a very big focus of ours, and we see these AI technologies as truly transformative, right? And sometimes I worry when I'm in front of audiences, when I say that, I don't think people really understand what I mean. I'm talking fourth industrial revolution type of stuff here, right? You've seen companies create literally trillions of dollars in market value and market cap based upon where this technology is going. Putting guardrails around this technology, right, so it can be used responsibly, so we have human oversight of said technologies, is something that I think very few people disagree would have a lot of value, right, and is important for policymakers and is important for us as a society. But how you do that, we probably don't all see eye to eye on. It's likely that we would not see meaningful legislation move in DC over the next couple of years around AI. So that probably means, I would surmise, that California is likely to be one of those states that steps up. And so when I talk about in California, our position only being intensified, right, only being amplified, I mean very directly that our legislature may be the first state that tries to move that comprehensive AI type of legislative or regulatory posture, right? And we don't want to see, speaking for my group, 37 different states with 37 different ways that you deal with certain aspects of AI. So we want to ensure that California gets it right. When we talk about our workforce, I am one who believes that one of those hidden ingredients to our success in Silicon Valley is our inclusive and diverse workforce. And again, I said that a little bit at the top for you all to get to know me, but also to be real, right? I'm a Wharton-trained investment banker standing up here. And when I talk about adding value, when I talk about the bottom lines to our companies, I mean it very directly that I believe our companies that are able to attract and retain the best and most diverse talent, I think they make the most money, and they're the most innovative companies. And I think in California, our policies around workforce are going to be flagship policies, potentially, over the next 2 to 4 years. So those are just a couple examples of why I say that, of course, there is potentially monumental change in DC. And it is a historic election, no doubt. But with change being a constant in Silicon Valley, and with California being full of innovators, and really the crown jewel, I would posit, and specifically Silicon Valley companies, the crown jewel of our US economy and our global economy, I think that the policies we set here, you might argue in certain respects for our economy, will be more important than what we see come out of DC. So we are very busy, and the next 2 years, the next 4 years will be active. And of course, we have to see who sits in what roles. Personnel is policy in so many respects, and adjust accordingly to ensure, again, with that theme of adding value for our region and for our companies, we're able to do so. To speak a little bit about the future of our region and where we're going, as I stated earlier, we are very bullish around AI. And the opportunities for AI are not just around regulations and safeguards that are needed to ensure the technology is used responsibly, right? We want to ensure that that's balanced with also allowing this technology to grow and scale here. But we need the infrastructure that allows AI to be possible to grow and scale here. So to share a little bit about SVLG and where our priorities continue to move to represent the leading innovation companies here in the Valley, our number one piece of sponsored legislation, was with a huge shout out to Senator Cortese, was an AI infrastructure bill connected to data centers. Because long and short, I definitely won't bore you on this, it's really hard to build fast data centers in California, and you need really fast data centers to power the next generation of AI chips. And so our legislation solved for that, with data centers in California going through a fast-track process, big data centers up to 200 megawatts, right? And that's an example of the type of legislation that ensures our infrastructure is being modernized and moving forward to drive what I mentioned of multi-trillion-dollar market value for companies. When we talk about infrastructure, we look at our energy, we look at power, smart grids, et cetera. There's just a plethora of opportunities to continue to modernize and make this region and make our state more prepared to be as competitive as possible. So that's a little bit about AI as we look to the future. When I think about our workforce, that is an issue that I think we will continue to see challenges around. Right? It's very expensive to live here. Nothing has changed around that, and nothing with any administration, I think, has a significant bearing around that. But it may have a bearing when it comes to federal support for California, right? And I would say to our leaders, and we're fortunate, I saw some of our elected leaders here in the room, I would not recommend that we rely on DC or federal leaders for significant financial support in the years ahead. And you could say that that view also creates a set of opportunities, right? Perhaps now we look at market-driven solutions to certain problems where that is appropriate to be brought to bear, right? Certain types of affordable housing or workforce housing. We have multi-trillion-dollar investor markets, private capital, that goes to funding social good projects. Maybe we can leverage those dollars for projects here more effectively. Maybe we can look at technologies, explore 3D printing, for example, and find those technologies to build housing more effectively, cheaper. Perhaps due to essentiality, right, due to a set of circumstances that I think many of us can surmise will mean California may be disadvantaged versus other states. Perhaps that can drive more innovation in public policy and more innovation in how we approach solving problems that for so many of us feel, and I think we often even believe are intractable when they don't need to be. So those are just a few ideas that I share with you around where I think we'll begin to see change and where I think we have opportunity around innovation. What I want to make sure I close on is talking very specifically about Silicon Valley Leadership Group and the future for our region, because I am fortunate not only to be a member here, as I shared, but to have benefited from such a generous community and to have so many friends in the audience, to which I am truly grateful. And so many of you know our organization so well, being founded by David Packard in the 70s. And I think two things here as we close. I'll talk about business, and I'll talk about geographic lines. right? Back to that theme of business and adding value. This region, if we take the Bay Area, 9 Bay Area counties, it's give or take a $2 trillion GDP region, right? And that's on par with many countries. And if you ask me, does the policy influence of our businesses match their economic influence or match the influence and social impact that they have? I would say that it does not, because the sad story on our bill is that it didn't get passed, that AI infrastructure bill, although we're very close and hopefully it will pass in the future. And when we talk about geographic lines, I would argue, certainly based off of the feedback I hear from so many of our business leaders, I would argue that the lines between Redwood City and Mountain View or San Mateo and San Jose, for those people running businesses, especially large businesses in the region, I would argue that those geographic lines have blurred, and that they've blurred very substantially. So with that background in mind, what we have done at Silicon Valley Leadership Group, and where much of my year has been spent, has been working on a very exciting proposal with the Bay Area Council, which is our business group counterpart to the north in San Francisco. And we entered into a letter of intent in August to try and create a mega business group for the region, to say that, you know what, we need to focus on issues that are not just tangential to business, but that much more directly drive added value, right? Around being a market maker for AI, or around trying to solve XYZ specific solution on this workforce housing development in San Mateo to make up a city. And I think to do so, additional resources and probably a stronger regional take on things would be additive. It's a lot of work, and you have a lot of powerful boards, and I'm so wonderful to have a lot of bosses, and there are a lot of opinions, and a lot of great people who support all of these organizations. So the devil's in the details, and I hope I'll be invited back. One, I hope I'll be invited back, but two, if I'm invited back, I hope I'll be able to speak to a successful combination of a new super group for the region, because I think it's needed. And I would argue that following some of the results that we saw over the past week or so, that need is even magnified. So I know that this was pretty high level, and it wasn't really that deep dive on Institute for California AI policy that was promised. But I hope in sharing a little bit about me, we've become a little more friendly, and you've gotten to know me a little bit more as a person. I hope in sharing where SVLG is going in terms of our near-term focus, you at least have a sense of what those issues are where we believe we can truly move the needle and add value. And that is our marker. We're here to move the needle and not, be one logo of 93 that you see on a letter. And then finally, I hope when I talk about our region, our future, and where we are going, you hear in me an acknowledgement that things are not perfect, but also a very sincere hopefulness that speaking for our members, our companies, our innovators, that we are focused on tangible solutions for all of you. So thank you again. I appreciate the time, and if there are questions, I'm very glad to take them.
Thank you so much. Those with traveling microphones, let's get you on the microphone. Once again, if you're not on microphone, our friends on Zoom can't hear you. We've got a question in the front here. All right, up front here has one. Anybody else? Stand on up. And we've got Megan Fluke over there. Awesome. We're going to get Stephen first, I think. Stephen. What's your question, Stephen?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Thomas. That was really great. You spoke to our domestic, what we're doing as far as policy and oversight. What are we doing as far as international collaboration? Is there an international organization And the second part of that is, what are we doing with regard to safety? You know, AI is a friend and foe. Is there an organization that's looking out like for black hats sort of thing? I'm going to call it black hats, right? The bad guys, because it can work against us in a detrimental way.
Yeah. Oh, can you all hear me? Can you not hear me? Can you hear me now? I usually don't have this problem. Okay, well, I'll speak up. I'll be more authoritative on stage. I'll try to. International policy. We're not deeply engaged in that. However, our friends at Bay Area Council are, and specifically they have a China office. That is part of the conversation around where there are synergies, where we can add more value for our companies. I think in particular China and the economic relationship with China is going to be very close to watch. I think the details of tariffs and what tariff-related policy looks like in particular will be the item that we'll be watching most closely. I think, as you all know very well, and Larry will know this better than anybody, typically you see those prices passed along to consumers, and the impacts can create challenges. So China would be the one place economically where I think there'd be a lot of focus from a combined entity. In terms of AI, we have a responsible AI working group that's been led by Google and Johnson & Johnson. To be honest, the fears we hear about AI when we're behind closed doors or when we're meeting with leaders in Sacramento, it's not about AI taking over. It's about jobs and workforce. So the Institute for California AI Policy, what I was supposed to talk to you all about, that's the first project that was funded through ICAP. So it's a program with Foothill De Anza to try and come up with a curriculum connected to human oversight of AI jobs. Now, part of it I've been very transparent about. We want to see AI grow and scale and add market value for our companies and startups here. I believe that this is probably the primary concern and detractant that we hear about when it comes to AI. So we're trying to be proactive to address that up front. Curriculum in California is, that's a whole nother conversation. It's a heck of a lot harder than I anticipated, and even harder at the community college level. But I think there's the potential for very good paying jobs connected to AI that don't require a PhD or a 4-year degree. So that's the first project of the Institute.
Thank you so much. Megan Fluke has a microphone to your right.
I can hear you. Maybe Zoom can't.
Hello, there we go. Thank you so much for your talk, and really glad to have you in Rotary. My question is around the environmental impact of AI. I've heard that the average Google search now is 7 times more energy consumptive, if that's a word, because of the AI feature that they've added. I'm curious just the legislation that connects back to climate and how AI could be a part of the solution.
Yeah, very good question. These are good questions. Okay. They don't take it easy on members up here, apparently. All right. First of all, when we look at the only proposition, right, the only statewide election issue that we took a position on at SVLG was the climate bond, right, which you saw was able to garner very significant support, because I think so many Californians saw that as a high ROI spend, right? And so I was very proud that we were one of those few business groups to be out in front of that, because we saw that double or triple bottom line connected to the climate spend. I do think, and this is where Rod and his work with high-speed rail as another example has been tremendous. I do think we have to find the right balance, and this is where California sometimes, I think, has opportunities to be an even better place and legislative capital. That bill that I spoke to you about with AI data centers, one of the major environmental concerns was about the backup power for data centers, which, as many of you know, is diesel, right? But if you dig into that, 0.07% of the power allotted here for this backup is diesel power. So I would argue that that 0.07% is probably not something to kill a bill over. And, you know, I hope that we show up to these issues authentically, as I just spoke about the climate bill, because our companies do see that double, triple bottom line impact of being good climate stewards. It has benefits for marketplace and consumers, and it has benefits clearly for the climate. So for me, you do have to find that balance. I acknowledge your point, and there's a lot written about AI in particular and what it means from an energy standpoint. I'd close my response out by saying I do think there is tremendous opportunity around harnessing different forms of energy and harnessing clean energy in a more smart manner. So around smart grid technology, some of the stuff is out there, even carbon capture, other things like that. You see really interesting startups. Air Protein is one of them that's worth Googling. Lisa Dyson, that comes to mind.
Thank you so much. I did see Leah stand up next, and then Rod.
Is that my friend Leah from the
Hello.
chamber? Hey, Leah.
Leah Tennisketter, CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. It's wonderful to have you here, as always. Your comment before around policy, trying to set up guardrails for technology that is moving 1 million miles an hour, that you don't think the federal government will be doing a lot of that in the next 4 years, and it will lean on California. California often, in the way they set up policy, creates the new federal policy. And your comment that we don't want every state passing their own policy on a certain type of AI. Are there conversations in our state around what the federal policy might look like? So I'll go up from there. And then is there conversation at the state around the challenge of local municipalities, city governments, this has come through San Jose, passing their own ordinances on types of AI?
Yeah, no, thank you, Lee. It's great to see you. Another very good question. So I don't know the answer in DC only because that is so fast-moving. The Commerce Secretary and Treasury Secretary are two appointments that we'll be watching very closely. Commerce, as you know well, and I think for many of you in the audience know, has tremendous oversight from a regulatory standpoint connected to AI, especially around science and technology issues. So when we see who is running the Commerce Department, I think that's going to say a lot for what that posture is. But to your second point, I do think in California, you know, we did see a very big AI bill that we weren't crazy about. We thought it was really well intended. But there is that thin line that we always want to try and maintain, right? And it's not easy how you continue to harness conditions on the ground that drive innovation while also placing safeguards on said innovation. I think one of the challenges is exactly what you spelled out. This technology is moving so rapidly, it's virtually impossible to take a specific view of regulating aspect A, B, or C and believe you're going to get that right. And so I think the question for us are, what are those principles that we can agree upon? On our website, we have a set of 5 principles that we've come up with our members, which we hope drive any legislation. I would argue the most important piece of that, or the most important principle, is human-centric or human oversight of AI. But as you point out, it's a challenging problem, a very challenging one. This goes for anything. I mean, government does not usually move at the pace of innovation, and it creates challenges when you want to regulate said innovation, which I think makes our job, in certain respects, even harder at your organization and mine.
Thank you for these great questions. Rod, I believe you have the last question.
All right.
Got to take it easy.
Well, I think it might be easy. You represent an organization that has been profound in our valley since David Packard created it back in the 70s. Led by some of the people that have been recognized as the #1 most powerful individual in the valley. You know, Peter Giles, Burke, Carl, now yourself. Your influence here in the South Bay area has been, you can't imagine how powerful it's been, and it's been hopeful. You mentioned the potential of us merging with the Bay Area Council, and they're a good organization, much less powerful than yours, but in a different way. It would be disastrous for us to merge with the Bay Area Council and have the Bay Area Council become the surviving organization.
Do you have a question, Rod?
We have competed for years.
I don't mean to be disrespectful, but we got to get to the question, please.
I'll end it right now. We've competed for years to be recognized as the focal point of the Bay Area. I hope when you merge, you are able to sustain that relationship as the leader of whatever the new organization is.
No, thank you so much, Rod. And that is an easy one, and there's clearly complete alignment. You know, I think when we look at our companies, and frankly, back to that point and the theme of so many of my talks, when we look at the value created by this set of companies in Silicon Valley, it is like nothing on the planet. And I think that's probably what's different about conversations like this today than maybe 20 years ago, right? Because these companies and the value being created is just on another level. You know, we've been very fortunate with them being a great organization, the conversations and the comity being there. I think there's tremendous potential, exactly as you say, to ensure that all of the good work that we've been able to do here is only multiplied. Because there are two ways these things go. They can be done really well, where 1 + 1 = 3. You study this stuff in business school, and there's not an easy path to get there, but it's very doable. Or they can just be run into the ground, right, where you take really good organizations. And my mantra is always doing fewer things well. Often you find that combinations like that, you got a list of 35 things you're trying to do, and you don't do any of them well. So that focus, I think, is very important. And I think exactly, I'd close by saying, Rod, to your point, bringing it back to what I shared in the speech, my style is a little bit different. As you know, Rod, I'm probably more in touch with our members and building the machine and all of that stuff than I am, out front. But I think that's given me a very good understanding of what our companies want. They want an entity like ours dealing with issues that are not tangential issues to the strength of business and the region's competitiveness. They want us working on issues that directly impact the bottom line. And I think as long as we keep that focus, exactly as you laid out, there's a tremendous opportunity here. But we do have to guard against mission creep, all the reasons that taking two big historic groups and putting them together can go wrong. I pledge to you all, I'm doing all I can to ensure that if we can get this to the right place, it goes right, because it's a tremendous opportunity.
Let's give a warm Rotary welcome to our program speaker, Ahmad. Thank you so much. Let's grab a quick photo. Come on. We'll do a quick little photo here.
Did I get a shot or anything after
No, they were kind, and they were smart, as we expect them all to be. What a loving room. Thank you so much for your great comments. A gift has been made in your name to the Dancing Cat Lounge, where all the cool cats go. Whether you need to hang out with cool cats or be one yourself and adopt one, please support the Dancing Cat Lounge in San Jose. We also have these beautiful Chandler walnuts for you because I'm an agricultural nerd. That was wonderful. I also want to give a shout out to Bunny. Thank you so much for organizing our AI series within the program committee. I hadn't heard anything yet about legislation or reforms in that way, so thank you for adding on to this intriguing topic. Really appreciate what you guys are doing in program committee. All right, next week, join us here for the Bob Keeve Thanksgiving program. I want to say this is a favorite of the year, but everything's a favorite of the year, but this one especially. Thank you, Lenore, wherever you are. You might be on Zoom today. Thank you so much for organizing this one. We look forward to hearing your stories of gratitude next week. Quickly for final thoughts, where's the military care committee? If you're in the military care committee, can you stand up, please? I'm going to make you do it. You guys pulled off an amazing feat of saving that Veterans Day parade, being there in the pouring down rain. The only 2 hours of rain that we had in the last 2 months was from 11 to 1 on Monday. Thank you so much. I hope you keep that trolley for next year. It was a fantastic experience, and I think everyone felt really, truly treasured in our community. Thank you. We will see you here next week for the Thanksgiving program. Don't forget to sign up for our holiday luncheon activities. We are adjourned.